Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday. We just got finished watching the status conference, so we wanted to jump on real quick and do our normal Wednesday episode. Overachieving here because we're not a day late.
What about that?
What's good, Fruit Loop?
Our weather is like really, really good.
Oh my goodness. I broke my first sweat today while I was out. I had to go get my kids some clothes because you're taking my oldest to Birmingham tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to go on a little adventure, some antiquing and sell some T-shirts and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, so her uncle owns a T-shirt company and they sell T-shirts at college events. So she's going to earn a little money and spend my money buying antiques.
Exactly.
But that's all right. She's a good kid. She deserves it.
Yeah.
So this is the first time you've ever taken my kids anywhere overnight.
Yeah.
And I would love to go, but my son is coming back from Kentucky today on his trip to help a community that was flooded up there. They went up and did some work under houses, pulling insulation and stuff. So, and then I have Sarah Rose, and so I don't have anybody to watch them because Dad's working.
I can't wait to hear how his trip went.
Yeah, he was really excited. I'm really proud of him. I mean, he chose to spend half of his spring break and his birthday serving other people. So sometimes you think you're screwing it up, and then they make those kind of choices, and you think, maybe I'm doing something right somewhere.
Yeah. They're cool. They're good kids.
They're really good kids. I'm very blessed.
Yeah.
But
they drive you crazy. But,
they drive me bonkers, but in a good way, because I've missed the heck out of them. My daughters went out of town with their dad to Atlanta on a little fun weekend trip, and I stayed here. So even it was a day and a half, I just find myself thinking it's too quiet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hug his little neck today. He's called me a couple of times. It was really sweet after the first night. The next night after he got there, he called and said, "Hey, Mom, I was just missing you and checking in on you." And so it's all good. Okay. Can I just say that my dream of me going in the pokey was a premonition to something that happened to you the other day, not involving you going to the pokey, but literally the setup.
Oh, it was. It was. So I was in Staples getting a few things, and I'm standing at the register. Well, I see this guy start running towards, he's actually running directly towards me. And the manager is running behind him, and the manager's yelling, "Thank you, sir, for shopping with us for your last time. Thank you, sir." And the guy runs right by me. Like, I could have gave him a shoulder check, like, took him out.
I'd have stuck my
or
leg
tripped
out.
him like in your dream. But he just ran right by me and actually darted across the road. And it's a main road. It is probably 6 lanes right there, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like 4 or 6. It's not a quiet street.
No,
What'd you
it was
say?
like Frogger. You know that game growing up. It was like Frogger.
Yeah.
So the man darts across the road and he's gone. He didn't technically steal anything, but he was trying to steal. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it was your dream, except there wasn't a cop chasing him. It was just the manager.
And you didn't go to the pokey for tripping a cop.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That was traumatic.
I actually asked the guy, I said, one of the workers, I said, "Y'all can't touch him, can you?" And he was like, "Nope." And I said, "I could have, right?" And he said, "You can do what you want."
Well, that's crazy.
So you got a item for your cat.
Oh gosh, yes. Okay, so my cat needs to be fixed, and he's going in a few weeks. In the meantime, he's just walking around the house making this creepy little cry all the time. It literally sounds like I don't know. It sounds like a woman crying. Yeah, 3 a.m.
It's like a baby.
It's just freaky. I mean, I'm just used to dogs barking, and so this cat stuff's still very new. But I had to go to Petco yesterday, and they have this little tent for cats outdoors, and it's huge.
Yeah, I pulled up and I was like, she done got her cat a tent.
Okay, so at first he wasn't digging it, but today he's already driving me crazy because I have a cat door that was we had a stray cat years ago, and we had a little cat door built in. He could come in if it was really hot or whatever. And so I can put a tunnel right in front of this cat door so he can let himself in and out into his little tent whenever he wants. But then a couple of times yesterday, he knocked it on its side because I have a problem with carpenter bees right now. And if you don't have them where you live, they're bees that are probably the size of your thumb, and they can't sting, but they harass you.
Oh, they're dive bombers.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I probably look like a crazy person when I go to take my trash out because I'm just swatting at the air. If somebody don't see the bee, they think she's lost her mind.
She is crazy.
But yeah, so the cat has a tent, and
Yeah, it's
so
pretty funny.
it's funny.
Yeah.
Speaking of pets, real quick, I have a dog named River, and he was really abused before we got him. So he was a rescue, but he's scared of everything, y'all. I mean, everything. If I sneeze, he jumps.
No, I set the phone down the other day on the arm of the chair, and he freaked out and took off.
Yeah, so he's very skittish. So last night, Fruit Loop, you were over here, and we got some really cool panels for our wall that absorb the sound. And we put some on the ceiling, and I don't think I've told you this, but I've got a video to show you later, Fruit Loop. The dog comes in this morning and sees the panels on the roof or on the ceiling, and he won't come in the studio room, and it's a big room. And so finally I get him in here, and he sat here for 5 minutes, and he would look straight ahead, and then he wouldn't move his head, but then he would look up at the tiles, and he did that for like 5 minutes. I have to show you the video. But now he won't come out and hang out with me. But if he does, he gets under this big table.
That's
Because he
funny.
doesn't want to see the tiles on the ceiling. Go figure. My cats they're bonkers, y'all.
I mean, it's not like it's like an ugly picture or something.
No,
It
but
must just be overhead.
I mean, he's scared of everything. It's
Yeah.
just a leaf blows by him and he takes off running.
Yeah.
Bless his heart. And he's huge. He's like part greyhound.
Yeah,
And he sits on the couch like a human. It's really funny.
he really does. I walked through there yesterday, and he was sitting like on the edge of the couch, just like you're sitting on the edge of the couch.
Yeah, it's really funny. So last night while we were hanging, or I might say you were hanging the panels because I got caught up in a car chase that was on in LA.
Yeah, I'm working. You're sitting over there,
Sorry.
but it's even though because you did the videos.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And
yeah.
can I just say, I've been up since 4 a.m. I couldn't sleep. So we have a really tight schedule this evening, both of us. So I said, well, I laid there and I tried to go back to sleep and I couldn't. So I said, I'll just get up and start doing this body cam stuff because I just didn't do any of it yesterday. And can I just say the and the beep beep, it hits a lot different at 4:35 in the morning. And then you add in a dog or a few dogs at Zulima's house that are either whining because they have food or barking because an investigator walks in. And I was cross-eyed by 7, but we're done. So we're going to talk about the very last bit of this body cam footage. And again, we found a few little nuggets in there that are really cool.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put that as your ringtone on my phone.
No, you're not.
Beep, beep.
I will fall on the floor wherever I am. I'll just get this mild shock.
Yeah.
So we just had the status conference.
Yep. So we want to give a shout out to who was it?
Rolling in the Dough, Arizona on Instagram. We had a fun little conversation with her last night.
Yeah.
So we just want to say hi. Totally funny.
Yep.
She's hilarious.
And we don't know your name, but
Right.
Yeah.
So,
whoever you are.
hey.
Yeah.
Okay. So status conference. What happened as soon as that video came up?
Oh, it's a breakout session.
Mm-hmm.
So we think this may have been an update on what's going on with Lori.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's probably safe to say either this is a medical issue or more of what we're leaning to is some kind of a mental health thing.
Yeah.
You don't hear of these hearings being paused completely. So we don't know what's going on with that. We're just not sure what's up.
Yeah. I mean, if they would let us in, we could just tell you everything, guys. But
Yep.
yeah.
Well, we hope eventually in a few years when this goes to trial, we can sit in on some, but
Yeah.
it is going to be a minute.
So it was a quick meeting. The breakout session was actually quick too, unless
it wasn't
they
bad.
got together before 3:30. But
Yeah, they
which is
were
a possibility.
maybe
but
10 minutes late, so it
Yeah.
really wasn't long.
yeah. So they vacated the July 7th trial date.
Yep, the first of many delays.
Yeah.
As much as we want this to resolve yesterday, there are the friend that I have that's in jail for murder that we're doing a Glimpse at Life series on. She was in county jail over 3.5 years before
Yeah.
she went to trial. And then if you look at the Roden murders that we're covering,
Yep.
the Wagner family, they were arrested in November of 2018. And as of right now, only Jake, the son that had the baby with Hannah, is scheduled for trial in August. The other 3 have no trial dates. So
Yeah. They're not going anywhere. Lori
No.
Chad aren't going anywhere. The Wagners aren't going anywhere.
No.
So
But it's not going to be quick. And I don't even think that this trial date's going to happen whenever they schedule this next one for.
yeah.
So what else are they going to do? June 9th or the 6th.
It's the 9th.
Right. They changed the date on, there was supposed to be a pre-trial hearing, excuse me. And they changed that to June the 9th. But
Yeah.
what are they going to hear on that date?
It's going to be the change of venue motion and possibly the severance.
Yeah. So again, Pryor is asking for the severance. And I'm just curious if maybe whatever is going on with Lori might work in his favor to get a severance.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Yep.
The judge said that the fall docket is just full because of COVID.
Yeah, and it's understandable.
Right.
Everything's been moved back, postponed, pushed back, whatever. So
And he actually said that he has cases that take priority over this one just because of the length of time since charges were filed and the person was put into custody.
yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If I was in there and they jumped in front of me, I'd be mad.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'd be like, get in line.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait your turn.
Rob Wood is not in any hurry to go to trial. We don't even have murder charges yet or a conspiracy to commit murder.
Yeah.
So even when those come down, it's going to change the game for the prosecutors and the defense. They've got to prepare for different charges now.
Yeah, and he said he could be ready by, I think the first was whatever it was. Anyways, July 2nd. Was it 2nd?
It was something like that.
Something like, there's some numbers in there. Y'all know how we are with numbers, but so he was okay with it. He said, I can be ready or I'm okay with postponing.
Yeah,
So,
any extra time's okay because now you have a new prosecutor on the case.
yeah.
So the more time she has to get to take in all of this discovery, she's been on for a couple of weeks, but just with the sheer volume and the terabytes of evidence, every day is good for her.
Yeah.
And all that does is make sure that when the charges come down, they're solid.
Oh, yeah.
And when they go to trial, they're ready.
A game.
That's it.
Yep.
Rob was on his A game with that blue tie today, I might say.
Yep. Bringing the A game.
Yep.
Yeah.
He looks smart.
Okay. He looks totally different because we saw some videos at the beginning when he didn't have his goatee.
Or his beard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked entirely different.
Oh, way different. I actually thought it was two different people.
I did too.
Yeah.
I was like, Rob,
wait.
Rob Wood has a brother?
Yeah. This is twin.
Who's the prosecutor?
Yeah, this is twin. So they also agreed to allow expert witnesses to testify via Zoom.
Yes.
If they all agree.
Yeah. So that's kind of it with that. I mean, they're going to schedule some other hearings, but they decided to do that sort of on their own and not today. And the judge agreed that them just sort of informally looking at calendars and coordinating their schedules would be easier.
I'm so glad because I did not want to sit there and listen to, oh, wait, I have this open.
I
No,
know.
can't make it.
'Cause
Can
you
you do
don't-
this? Can you do that?
You don't want to click off, but it's like, I don't care to sit here and hear about, 3
Yeah.
months of dates.
Yeah. I will say, Mean still looks like that he is not happy.
Yeah. Whatever is going on with Lori obviously is big.
Yeah.
Because they paused her hearings, like we just said. So I'm sure he's got a lot on his plate. I mean, he's her defense attorney right now, and there's a lot going on that
Yeah.
we don't know about.
Yeah. His face is so, like, just drawn.
Yeah.
Like, just, I don't know.
I mean,
But,
stress takes a toll, and even on a really good day of defending her, I'm sure it's stressful.
yeah.
You've got somebody's life in your hands, and that's what defense attorneys do.
Yeah.
So he's trying to figure out how to get her off these charges. Probably with the discovery he has, it looks like a very daunting task. And it's going to be a daunting task. I don't think they'll ever get off.
No.
But, okay, yeah.
All right. So we're going to jump into this body cam footage. Beep, beep. Okay.
Roof, roof.
Yep.
And then it was the wine. It was like, rah, rah, rah. They were eating food, and those dogs were laying it on thick for
Wow.
like 30 solid minutes. It was so funny.
That makes sense why the other officer need to go wash his shoes off, though.
Yeah, maybe.
There you go. There you go.
So one thing that I did learn on a website is that Cialis, which is the drug they found in the house for Alex, it can be used to treat pulmonary arterial hypertension as well as other ailments.
So I wonder if he was treating himself because we know he didn't go to the doctor.
Could
He
be.
never went to the doctor, so maybe.
Right. So
And we know he went to Mexico to get it, so.
he might have been treating a few conditions, but we won't go there.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump back to the body cam footage 4 just very quickly. Not much happens. Zulema makes some food and tries to get Joseph to eat. And there's some chatter with her daughter about problems with the kids' bus schedule or something. They were randomly getting annoyed with their dogs, as was I. Even though I'm a big dog lover, I was like, it's too early, little puppies.
Yeah. Let him outside.
So the one thing that I've noticed before we really dive into this is, if you remember, we talk about when Zulema gets back home from the hospital and she's very upset. She has a moment where she's sobbing, but I have to say, maybe one other time in the 5.5, 6 hours I've watched since then, they were kind of carefree.
Yeah, you said it just sounded just normal.
If I were listening to the couple of times aside where she is audibly upset, I would think it's just a bunch of people hanging out in the house. You wouldn't think there's a cop standing there or that there's investigators in your house. It just seemed very relaxed to me, and they're just chit-chatting about all kinds of stuff. I just found it very odd, considering Alex died in your house upstairs earlier that day. You see them try to resuscitate him for 45 minutes in the hospital. And then you come home and you can't go upstairs because they tell you can't. And it just kind of went on life as normal.
Yeah, that's weird.
Very weird. I've always kind of thought with them it was an arrangement out of the box. Nobody's families knew.
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
I mean, who? Melanie and Ian?
Maybe. Yeah. Well,
Well,
yeah,
they were
because they were
there.
there. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But so it's just odd. I think just even if I didn't know Alex and I had seen what she saw, I know people grieve differently. I'm not minimizing anything she might have felt, but I don't know. I'd have been a little bit more upset.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in houses where there's been deaths.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not normal at all.
Mm-mm.
And you go through different stages of grief. I totally understand.
Right.
But
And I know some people get numb to it, but I mean, at one point they're talking about American Girl dolls and Snapchat and just, I don't know. I mean, for me, if I had witnessed all that, and on top of that, the streets lined with investigators and cops, and they're standing in there, but it was almost like they ignored them.
honestly, I would have just sat outside.
Yeah, I would have too, but I guess, and we'll get to why maybe they didn't want to sit outside in a bit. I heard a little nugget there. So let's get started at the top. We're going to go now to body cam footage, video 5. This is part 2.
Okay, so right at the beginning, the officer inside tells Zulema that the bishop is there and he's outside. So Zulema asks if the bishop can come in, and the officer says no. And one of her daughters asks if she wants her to go outside with her, and Zulema says no.
Yeah. You can hear Zulema periodically talking outside. It was very animated at times, but you couldn't make out anything she was saying.
Sure. Yeah.
So I just want to say here, this is because the conversation went on for a while, and I'm just sitting here and I'm trying to anticipate the static. At 19 minutes and 28 seconds in, the officer with the body cam on, she had a mean ear itch, y'all. She was like scratching for 7 seconds.
So how long was Zulema outside?
Unless I missed something, it looked like she was outside with that bishop close to an hour. I got 57 minutes roughly.
Wow.
So who knows what was being said.
So one of the daughters asks if there's any news yet, and the officer says no.
Right.
There's a daughter gets a call, and she says, obviously you're hearing one side of this conversation, but she says, hanging in there. She then says they approved a warrant and now they'll search the house. We don't know. It's just like weird. We agree.
Yeah.
They have to see if there's wrongdoing. She says, I think everyone is just shaken up. She says Zulema's a mess.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah. there's police officers making sure we don't wander around the house. There's a detective here.
Yeah, and then she just recounts how Alex was feeling sick, wouldn't go to the doctor, and then that call ends. And then at this point is when Zulima's daughter is explaining this whole American Girl doll thing to her. So that's what I'm saying. It was just random conversation. I think I would have maybe, I don't know, I probably would have shut down and just been quiet.
Yeah.
But so you just get these little random bursts of conversation that nobody sounds even remotely stressed. And I'm sure they were with the investigators being in there, but you couldn't tell it.
Yeah. Okay, so I know this is like totally off whatever, but you know, like here in the South, when you have a death, like everybody starts coming over to your house
Oh, yeah, with food.
with food, like major food.
Yeah.
This is a little bit different. Like, I mean, maybe they don't do that kind of stuff out there, but you don't really see, and I know the cops are everywhere and probably nobody's coming, but I mean, the only person that sounds like comes is the bishop, and we're going to see a little bit of pizza.
Yeah, I think a pizza guy.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I guess bringing a honey-baked ham in the middle of a search warrant probably is the most inopportune time to do it.
Yeah.
But they weren't on the phone a ton. There were a few calls made here and there, but maybe they don't have a ton of friends.
Maybe not.
I mean, yeah. So at an hour and 47 minutes into this video, the investigator walks in. At that point, it had just been so quiet. So it's just, at this point, it's 6 a.m. and the investigator walks in. The dogs go crazy. I jump. River hears it through my headset. He jumps.
He takes off.
Yeah. And he introduces himself, and he says he wants to talk about what happened to them separately. And he says that during the search warrant, they'll take some photos, gather some evidence. He asks who the homeowner is, and Zulima says it's her. And he says that they usually talk to the witnesses in the order in which the deceased, in which you were involved.
Yeah.
So, well, I just lost my place.
He asked if it's okay to talk in the car.
Right. And so she agrees. So she says she's going to get her shoes. And the female officer that relieved the guy from the last episode, she's standing there, and then a couple of times a male officer comes up to her, and you can really tell they're surprised by some of the investigators there, maybe who they are. So they're stealth whispering Fruit Loop. I mean, seriously, she had on the body cam, and I couldn't hear half the conversation. I mean, they were just almost lip reading.
Yeah.
So one of the officers, she asks what time the search warrant started, and they give the time. And he said, the female officer says, I just wasn't sure what time he arrived. He's been outside most of the time. And the new officer, the guy says, he hasn't actually been. And the female officer kind of interrupts and says, in here. And the new officer says, well, when he actually comes in, we'll send them in, meaning, I guess, the people that execute the search warrant.
Huh.
And so this was another little clue, which showed me that these officers were trying to figure out what the hoopla was. And the female officer says, is there anyone else here? And the male officer kind of goes, mm-hmm. So it was more like, this is bigger than we know. And that was totally the vibe I got.
Yeah. Because we have to remember, like, this is the day after Tammy's body is exhumed.
Mm-hmm.
So the police, they know, like, they have a lot of information. So.
Yeah. And if you remember, the FBI was at Alex's autopsy.
Yes.
And I don't know if we ever heard they were at Tammy Daybell's, but I assume they were. I mean, if that point they have to arrange to exhume her body, they know they've got a crazy case on their hands. But I would be interested to know if somebody from the FBI was there for her.
Yeah.
Her autopsy.
Yeah. So then we hear her daughter is talking to Jose. That's her husband on the phone. And she says, I told you they got a search warrant. And she says they're taking pictures, and the detective wanted to talk to them by themselves, which is normal. She says Mom wants to stay in the house because she wants to see if she can be upstairs while they're searching because there's money.
Oh, yeah. That was
Um,
curious.
Yeah, and you had some thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, if you've got $100 up there, okay, I could see where it's not a big deal. My way of thinking is if you want to try to be up there when they're executing a search warrant, you're worried about the amount of money you could potentially have taken. And I don't mean taken as in stolen, but who knows if they would have taken that into evidence. But clearly they were worried about it. Now,
Yeah.
we know they're not going to let her go up there and observe. But
Yeah.
that was sort of the main concern at this point that was expressed is the money upstairs.
Yeah, and you have to think. I mean, my mom was thinking, why do you have money? Could it be that's part of the doomsday prepper stuff? I don't know.
Who knows? But we know Zulema has immunity. And in order, our understanding is in order to get immunity, you have to agree to testify. And the investigators let you know, we're not going to charge you with something we could.
Yeah, somehow you've broken the law.
So at
Somehow.
whether they found stuff in that house during the search warrant that was illegal, we don't know. Is it that they were able to prove something involving the case with Lori and Chad and the kids? We don't know, but she didn't get immunity for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I started thinking about this last night. We heard from them that Alex didn't like his family.
Right.
So did he start saying a bunch of stuff about how bad these people were? But then you have the phone conversation where Chad and Lori call him.
Right.
And Chad gives the blessing over the phone. And so you have that whole aspect. So I don't know.
It was more like the kiss of death over the phone, apparently.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
so on the phone with Jose, Zulema's daughter says she's already with them.
Yeah.
And then she really loudly, I didn't even have to strain it. It kind of hurt my ear. She said, no, they're in his car talking by themselves. I'll text her. They want us to talk individually, and there's no private place to talk, I guess. How about you text her the card and tell her don't answer any questions?
Yeah, it seems like Jose's running this show.
Yeah. And here's my question. I understand that typically when somebody dies in a house, my grandfather died at home. We were all there. So once the mortuary came and got his body, the house was clear. So I don't know if it's the fact that they have a search warrant that got him suspicious, him meaning Jose, or did Zulema tell him something on the way home where he thought, oh no, we could be in trouble?
Yeah.
I think it's got to be one of the two.
Yeah, something ain't right.
He didn't want them talking. It came up more than once.
Yeah. It just, if you don't have anything to hide, I don't know why you worry that much about
Exactly.
having an attorney.
Yeah. I mean, but he was adamant. So what I found is she leaves to go talk to this investigator at 1 hour and 49 minutes into the video, and she returns at 2 hours and 15 seconds. So before Jose called, she was outside in the car with the cop for about 11 minutes. After the call from Jose, she only stayed for 3 minutes, and then she's back in the house.
So obviously he told her not to say anything.
And she took that advice. But for 11 minutes, she apparently, as far as we know, talked to that investigator in the car.
Yeah. This is crazy. I mean, we know something, and we talked about this earlier. We heard Summer's whole talk with Rob Wood, that whole deal with her attorney there and all that stuff. We know that Zulema was there they had a talk, but we've not heard nothing from that.
Right.
I mean, Summers was released. We heard the whole thing.
That's true. It's a good point.
So something that Zulema said has some meat to it.
Oh, I agree. We've said it for a while now. She's going to be your star witness. There's a reason she hadn't done any interviews or nothing like that.
Yeah.
They've told her, hey, if you talk, we're going to take your immunity away or something.
Yeah.
So at that point, you hear the door open and you hear the investigators talking, and Fruit Loop, they immediately start flashing that camera.
Wow.
It was, I don't even know that they had 2 feet in the door.
Dude, I would hope, I hope her kitchen was clean, because, your house is dirt. Now them pictures are going to be everywhere.
I know, right?
Like, you got dishes in the sink. Yeah.
That's always my fears. Like I'll fall in the EMS, and it's going to be on a day where my kids were extra messy, and they're going to think I'm just disgusting.
Yeah.
Because I really try to keep my house clean.
Yeah. So one time when we were kids, our house got broken into. But prior to that, like we were in a hurry. I mean, we played ball and we're everywhere, just crazy. But so we had just left the laundry thrown everywhere. And so the cops had to come in because somebody broke in our house. And the cops was like, boy, they ransacked your house, didn't they?
No.
Yeah. And my mom's like, yep. Just
Yeah.
tore it up.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah. All right. So you hear the door open and you hear investigators talking. Oh, wait. You already said that.
Yeah, so they just start taking pictures like crazy. And one investigator tells the daughter that they'll start in that downstairs living room where they've been. They were kind of in and out of the kitchen some too. You hear Zulema making food. You hear the dogs begging for food. But the
What was it?
It was beep, beep. I can't even do it. That's not like a choo-choo train. But no, those dogs, they must be little. It was cute after, for the first 5 minutes. But
I would say a minute and a half.
yeah.
Yeah. So the officer comes in and asks something about the warrant, and the female officer says nobody knows.
Yeah, and it's just, again, another instance where if you sort of piece it together, you can tell they're super curious at this point, obviously, why certain investigators are there. And
It sounds definitely tight-lipped.
yes, very much so. I mean, the officers were, they were very curious. Like I said, they had a conversation for a good 4 minutes or so, but I mean, like I said, they must be masters at lip reading because I couldn't make it out.
Yeah. So the officer says, I know you don't want to talk, and that's fine. And he tells them what they may talk about. Someone answers what I think to be no.
Yeah, saying they didn't want to talk.
Yeah. And he says, to be clear, nobody here is in trouble. And he says more, but it's muffled, then the audio cuts out. I hate it. We had people ask, the audio is not working, or about the blur on the videos.
Yeah.
And it's all done by.
Yeah, it's all Gilbert PD that's redacted that or turn the audio off. Or, yeah, they mute it. And this video didn't have as much muting as the last one did, but the last 15 minutes of it was quiet. So you don't really get the resolution. You don't really see them leave
Yeah.
from the search warrant.
Yeah.
So the audio resumes at one point with Zulema saying something. It was kind of mid-sentence, think I did something wrong. And then she does start crying again, and she's saying something, but I couldn't make it out.
Yeah. Oh, man. So someone comes in the door with Zulema, and the officer asks who that is. And she says, we'll have to get his name. He says, Moises Perez.
It's Moses, but I'm sorry. I typed it out as he was spelling it, and he spells it with an I.
You sure it ain't Moises?
According to the guy, he said his name was Moses. I think.
The guy said Moses?
Yeah, he said Moses, and then he said Moises.
I would say Moises. I think he's pronouncing his name wrong. We need to help him out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, biblically, the name Moses is spelled Moses. I would say Moises.
But it could be just an alternate spelling, like
Moises Alou was a baseball player.
But if you think, Jesus in Spanish is spelled Jesus.
Exactly.
So it could be that kind of a thing. I actually think it's a really cool name to spell.
I do too.
Cool way to spell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moses Perez. So you got me saying Moises over here.
I'm
I'll listen
saying-
to this thing
I'm calling him Moises.
Yeah.
Moises is a pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, and then the audio goes out, and then it comes back on, and the male officer is telling the female officer, who, by the way, has been standing there for 2.5 hours at this point.
Telling you to potty break.
Yeah. He reminds her she needs to stay with them, and he said he's a little concerned about the kitchen area, and he says, but he doesn't think anything's going to happen. And the female officer just tells him, so far, so good.
I mean, you're in a crime scene.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, honestly.
You are.
Like, the whole house is a crime scene.
I would imagine this is when they got his phone, too.
Yeah. Yep.
And entered that in. So they did. I'm sure they got some stuff that was beneficial in here. A lot of stuff we probably don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Yep.
He lived there.
Yeah. And it's still just crazy to me. Just Joseph really didn't. It doesn't seem like he knew him that much.
No.
I mean, obviously he didn't know they were married.
Right.
But then the daughter moved out. When Alex moved in, she moved out.
Yeah, that's curious.
Yeah. I still go back to the purses deal where they say, "Thanks, Alex."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's very strange. And I mean, if maybe he's trying to buy their affection, because apparently he was a high roller and those were some nice purses.
He'd been in Vegas.
Oh, yep.
Well, you know they like to go there.
That's right. They like to get married there.
Oh, I wonder if there's some video. You know there's video of them in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
All those casinos have those videos. It might be evidence.
It would just be interesting to see. I would love to see
Yep.
the body language between Alex and Zulema.
Yep.
Do they look like they're giddy in love and can't wait to say those vows, or is it just sort of like, all right, our turn?
Yeah. Yep. So at 9:34 was the entry time on the search warrant. Dude, that's late.
It's late, and I think, was it maybe 3:00 or so that Alex went down? It was afternoon,
Yeah.
I believe. So I understand it's a long day for them, and I'm not knocking them for getting pizza.
No, I would have been hungry too.
Yeah. So again, the officers are kind of chatting about the situation being weird, I think. I believe they're talking about the search warrant at this point, and the female officer says something about it being stressful to go through this. And she said if it were her, she would be sitting there going, I wasn't involved. And the male officer said he read the report, and then it cuts off.
Oh, man.
And so they're just trying to figure out what's up.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah. So, and then this is pretty much the end. They all have a long conversation, and at that point, they're in the kitchen still, and you just can't make out what's being said. They're just sort of talking in a normal tone. When Zulema gets animated, she gets very loud. So does
Yeah.
her daughter. But that was the end of the body cam footage. And so we've learned a few little things, I think, that give us something to chew on for a while.
Yeah. I want to know what Zulema knows.
Yeah, well, if this goes to trial, then we will know. I don't think Chad will plead guilty or anything, so I think at least, he'll go to trial.
Yeah.
Lori too, but I'm just very curious what's up with her because, I mean, you can go out on a limb and say if she's had a true mental break, being in jail for over a year now, it's not unheard of, but it's
Yeah.
hard to know with her what would be genuine and what would be put on.
Oh, most definitely.
I'm just saying, I've never seen hearings paused for even a mental thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe we could ask Scott Reich. I think he said maybe he hadn't seen that. I don't know. We'll verify.
Yeah, I mean, there's always, okay, you're going to get checked and make sure you're competent to stand trial. Like, that's normal, but
Right. Because
this
there's
is just odd.
there's no insanity in Idaho. So,
yeah.
but it would be really hard to trust a true mental break because she's faked so much in the past.
Yeah.
So is this just she knows her goose is cooked and so let's just act crazy?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
she can get a cushy place in a mental hospital instead of a prison, and
yeah.
I don't know, but
So, I mean, you can look at it. Look at her on Wheel of Fortune.
yeah.
I mean, 2 months later, she divorces Joe.
Yeah.
But on there, oh, yeah, we're a happy family riding around on our 3 acres.
Right.
Yeah. So you see it every time.
You do. So
You
I don't
see her in
know.
the police station when she did all that stuff to Charles.
Yeah, she's very manipulative, so I just
Yeah.
don't trust her as far as I could throw her,
Uh-uh.
and we shall see, but it's not going to be quick. I think now that they have vacated that hearing, I don't know that we're going to get charges anytime soon.
Rob, do not make us wait.
Paging Rob Wood.
We have been very patient. Everybody's been very patient.
But we understand if you're tying up all the loose ends and you want all this to stick. So we'll be patient longer, but they'll come and it'll feel really, really good when they come.
Yeah.
Oh, on our social media, I posted from Kay's daughter Crush's YouTube channel. She had the sweetest video. I'd never seen it, where Kay and Larry surprised JJ out of school. Charles is there opening the door,
Yeah, I saw that.
and he comes out just to talking. He's just talking, excited to see his daddy. And then he sees them, and he is so thrilled.
Yep.
Oh, my God. It made my heart swell.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
And then you hear Kay's just so happy. She's like, hey, buddy. And Larry's like, give me a hug. I love you so much. And he's just so happy. And I had JJ and Tally on my mind all day yesterday.
Yeah.
And that video was so precious. So if you haven't seen it, you can go to our Facebook or our Twitter, and it's on there.
Yeah, she's been putting out some good videos. She's finding some stuff.
Really, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's nice to see videos of these kids. We see them in still pictures so much.
Yeah.
So it really lets us get a little peek at their personalities. And I love that because it makes it even more real to see talking, moving children in a video. And then you realize we know how precious they were, but then you see that video and you see that love there
Yeah.
with Kay and Larry and JJ and Charles.
Yeah.
He was so excited to surprise JJ, you could tell.
Yeah, I think there was another one with JJ with Kay's son.
With his biological parents,
Yeah, he was laying on his chest.
And he looks just the same as a little infant
Yeah.
as he did as a big boy.
Yeah, and he grinned. They were talking to him, and
I
he
know.
had the biggest grin.
Oh, you could tell that, oh man, the love was very apparent in both those videos. And as always, our hearts go out to JJ's biological parents and Kresha and the everybody who's affected by Tylee, and just it's so personal to us now in an odd way.
Yeah.
But
yeah, check her channel out. She's got some cool videos. I watched a little bit of one today she had found on Zulima. She's like finding all this stuff.
I know, right? She's
Yeah.
super sleuthing over there.
I know. You go, Krisha.
All right. Well, that's all we have. You and Taylor have to jet out of here.
Yep. Hey, if you have any favorite blah, 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 that was weird. Favorite food places in Birmingham, give us a post so we can try it out.
Oh, see, you're going to make me read all these comments, and
Yeah.
I'm sitting here. That's all right, though.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
Yeah, we're gonna antique, and if you know any antique places, give us a shout out. Little holes in the wall.
Can I just say affordable antiques? Because my little daughter's like, I love that painting. And I look and it's like $800.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can love it from afar. We'll come visit
Take
it whenever
a
you want.
photo.
We'll come visit it whenever you want.
Good.
She's scared to take me to antique places, though, because I had an incident with the Oreo display in the new grocery store around here the other day.
You mean you had a wreck with the Oreo display?
It was so embarrassing. Okay, so this is the last story, and then we're leaving.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna kick you under this table. So we get this new store near our house, and they have this really amazing yogurt aisle. And I saw the Oreo display from afar, and so I'm just like doing this casual stroll, looking at all the Oreo options, and I took out the entire Oreo display. And so there's a lady at the end of the aisle. I literally just took a bow, and then I was, because either that or I was gonna cry because I was so embarrassed. And then I start to bend down and pick up the Oreos, and the guy's like, "Oh, I got it, ma'am."
There you go. I was about to say you got called, ma'am.
He said, "Oh yeah, that's insult to injury right there." And then so here's the thing: you love the lemon Oreos, so I said, "I'll just take care of these two." So it was buy one get one free. So I got like a pack of lemon off the floor, and so I feel it was two he didn't have to put up
Hey,
because I got
that's
the
good.
regular ones too.
Yeah,
so.
you helped.
So anytime we're in an antique store, my daughter becomes the adult. She's like, "Mama, quit waving your arms around. Keep your arms to your side."
We apologize to anybody who bought Oreos in that store, and they were all cracked.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
But they're
broke cookies.
You could just put them in your milk. So I
Yeah.
did you a small favor. And that poor dude, I mean, whoever it was, I don't even know what design it was, but it was something. I don't know. I think it was like a mini lion because it's a food lion.
Oh, wow.
It was lying on the ground when I was done with it.
It was Demolished Lion.
Oh, man. I about went up to the manager and said, "I'll pay you $100 to erase that footage."
No, they had a laugh over that one.
Oh, my goodness. All right, guys. Well, Fruit Loop will be back in town in enough time for us to be on time Sunday. And I think unless anything crazy happens, we're going to pick up our A Glimpse at Life series. And in this one, I think maybe we'll talk about her pregnancy while she was in jail.
Yep.
And we're also going to share some prison recipes.
Uh-oh.
And we'll also do our 5 prison slang terms of the day.
Sweet.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend, and we will talk to you soon.
Good night. Afternoon, whatever it is.